What is up, YouTube? HPJ here, and I hope you guys are doing extremely well. And it is time for my Harpie deck profile. But this is a retro deck profile because we're taking a look back at H.A.T format. And I know, and I stress this a lot, there aren't a lot of Harpie decks for H.A.T format, considering it's one of the biggest eras it flourished in. You know, Harpies have a lot of really good strategies to combat the meta, and it was very much known as one of the rogue decks of that format. And I think only really its biggest competition at that point in time was definitely H.A.T, because H.A.T not only just was Artifact, and Artifact has a lot of things that was going against Harpie, but you had to really combat the Artifact monsters with a lot of length. And I think that's why a lot of people really try to stretch a lot of different parts of the engine to see what combination of cards would work, because there were a lot of tops at major events in that era, especially in 2014, but never really talked about, which is crazy because Harpie definitely did top a lot of those events, but a lot of people undermined it. And I have a separate video to talk about that era of Yu-Gi-Oh, especially for Harpie. But for right now, I'm going to give you guys my build of H.A.T format Harpie deck, and I definitely will either make a video just to touch back on bases of cards and combos and stuff you can easily take with Harpie, or even more so, just follow up with some things here. But for right now, let's go ahead, let's look at my variation of Harpie. And it's going to start off, of course, with my monster lineup. And it consists of 3 copies of Harpie Channeler, who is then followed up by 3 copies of Harpie Queen. She's followed by 3 copies of Harpie Lady 1. And then that's followed up by 2 copies of Harpie Dancer, a copy of Harpie's Pet Dragon, 1 copy of Zephyros the Elite, 2 copies of Summoner Monk, and then 2 copies of Maxi. Alright, so that is it for my monsters. Don't worry, I'm going to go into my spells and traps pretty soon, which is right now. And I'm going to start off with my 3 copies of Hysteric Sign. That is followed up by 2 copies of Elegant Egotist, 2 copies of Harpie's Hunting Ground, 2 copies of Book of Moon, and 2 copies of MST. From there are my trap cards, and that is 2 copies of Hysteric Party, 2 copies of Icarus Attack, 2 copies of Magical Hat, 2 copies of Breakthrough Skill, 2 copies of Bottomless Trap Hole, and 2 copies of Fiendish Chain. So that is it for my traps and spells. This is a total of 40 cards, both in the main and in the extra. Let's go ahead and look into my extra deck. And my extra deck consists of 1 copy of Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon, 2 copies of my Lightning Chidori, 2 copies of my Ice Beast Zero Find, 1 copy of Abyss Dweller, a copy of Cowboy, a copy of Exciton Knight, a copy of Queen Dragoon the Jin, 1 copy of Daigusto Emerald, 1 copy of Mecha Phantom Beast Draco Sack, a copy of number 11 Big Eye, a copy of number 74 The Master of Blades, 1 copy of Silent Honor Arc, and a copy of 101 Ragna Zero. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is the fray of my Harpie deck. It's a lot of other monsters that I could have easily added into this, and like I said, I may say that for a separate video. But for right now, this is the build that if I was going to go to a H.A.T format deck, 9 out of 10, this is probably what I'm running, just because of its essentials. And my side deck would definitely be stacked with things to counteract. But for the most part, let's go through the bases of this. This is Harpie Channeler. She's one of the best components to the Harpie deck ever since her release. Discard a Harpie card to special summon a Harpie monster from your deck into defense position except for a copy of herself. While you control a dragon-type monster, her level becomes 7. And of course, while she's on the field or in the graveyard, her name becomes Harpie Lady. She's the essential to any Harpie deck, and access to the Harpie monsters in the main deck by a simple discard of a Harpie card, which can easily set up your graveyard for plays later on, and even more so, have such synergy with the dragon aspect of it, because remember, Harpie's Pet Dragon for a long period of time was not used because of its inconsistencies with the deck. But now there was some way to make it more consistent, but unfortunately get coded as the Harpie's engine of its Garnets, second to that of Harpie's sisters. But Harpie Channeler, definite grade A, 100% must have in this deck. Next up is Harpie Queen. She's your 19 beat stick. She searches for your field spell, and she even sets up for a lot of Harpie cards as well. So it's a definite must have in this deck. Harpie Lady 1. I said Harpie Channeler. Harpie Lady 1. This is the monster that you're going to special summon off of your Elegant Egoist, and 9 out of 10 searching off to special summon for your Harpie Channeler. She gives all wind monsters on your field an additional 300 attack, which is great, because that way your Harpies can beat over other monsters, and the more you stack onto the field, the more powerful they get. Harpie Lady 1 is primarily going to be in this deck. You can use Cyber Harpie Lady, who is your other option, just as she is a standalone beat stick. From there is Harpie Dancer, and she plays very well with Harpie Channeler, as you can summon a dancer off of a Channeler effect, bounce her back to the hand, and then retrieve to special summon another wind monster from your hand. You can combine this with Harpie Channeler and Field Spell so that you can pop off your opponent's field spells. You can even run Divine Wind of the Mist Valley so that you can special summon more wind monsters to the board to grant access to a large portion of the pool for your levels, for your special summons, especially considering how well it is to go into a rank 4 engine with the Harpie archetype. Now from there is our access to our rank 7s, and that's Harpie's Pet Dragon. The Loathsome Dragon now gets some playability into the deck. And at this period of time, I'll be very honest with you, I could have cut Harpie's Pet Dragon and put in some other, monsters, and even do maybe a rank 4 only engine of the Harpies. Just for the simple fact that the rank 4 pool and the rank 7 pool, while they're massive, I love that quickness going into a rank 4 engine, because then I don't have to have a dead draw monster like Harpie's Pet Dragon. Which, don't get me wrong, it's still in excess of a Harpie engine, but nowadays we have Harpie's Pet Dragon First and Fire, which is way more benefits to the deck than just a OG monster with, buff ups. Now, Zephyros the Elite. This monster is here to bounce back any card on your field at a cost of 400 of your life points to special summon itself from the graveyard, and then be able to help you combo into more rank 4 plays, which is perfect for this deck. I have so many different rank 4 plays and ideas thanks to this monster, and this monster definitely did help out in a lot of ways with the Harpie engine. Next to that is Summoner Monk, who's also another component to the Harpie engine, because a discard of a spell to summon a level 4 monster. With the way you can easily set up multiple cards onto the board, have access to multiple monsters, thanks to Summoner Monk's ability. And even at that time, Monk had just went up to 2 after a long period of time being at 1. Max C, and of course, hand traps will always be a predominant part of any core deck, between this and of course the most common other being that of Effect Veiler. The lineup of things that you use for this deck is of course tremendous, and Max C was there to help out with the draw aspect of this deck, so that the more your opponent touches summon, the more things you would add to your hand, thanks to Max C being able to be dropped and going into your deck to help you thin it out. Not only just thin it out, but just thin into your options of the cards that you can use to deal with your opponent. So that is it for all of my monsters. Now going into my spells and traps, we of course have Hysteric Sign. This is one of the biggest components to your Harpie deck, and just even modern day Harpie deck, because Harpies love Hysteric Sign for its multiple uses. It has the ability to add Elegant Egoist from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And then at the end of the turn in which this card is sent from hand or field to the grave, you're able to add up 3 Harpie cards to your hand. Now, while the masses have gotten better over the years, this is more of a card that helped you out in the situations that came later. Discarding this off of Hysteric Party, dropping this off of a Summoner Monk, playing around with this to get your access to your other rank 4s, or going in for your big pushes. Hysteric Sign definitely helps you out with a lot of those because its next component is Elegant Egotist, which allows you to special summon Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters. Now, while Sisters is not prominent now in terms of this format, Harpie Lady is your main focus here. Harpie Lady or Cyber Harpie Lady, because those are your two options outside of the vanilla, which I guess, but vanilla plays didn't really surface till later on. And 2 and 3 are kind of much dead at this point because both of the mechanics they were used for are pretty much null and void. So Elegant Egotist's main targets have been between Cyber Harpie Lady 1, and Vanilla if you want to feel a little risky. But yeah, it was more of a 2 of than a 3 of, even though it can be an option to put into the deck if you wanted those additional special summons. But you also have to remember, you're also limited to the point because you only have access to the 3 Harpie Ladies. And no one was running Sisters at this time, let's just put that out there. Harpie's Hunting Ground. This was an access to destroying multiple back row of your opponent one at a time, buffing up your winged bees, being able to just use so many different tactics thanks to this card. It's the definite must-have in the deck, but not something you would stress out to have multiples of, because this is your field spell that has to destroy a spell or trap on the field, and most likely will have to choose itself. Luckily, by that time, the field spell ruling had changed, so your opponent's playing field spells is something that you can easily deal with as well. But be careful, because if you pop something like a Gear Town, yeah, you don't want to deal with the Gadgetron Dragons coming out of that. So then Book of Moon, just to help against the ops and putting stuff face down and getting over things like Effect Veiler, and MST just to clear out some back row, in addition to your Harpie's Hunting Ground, because there were still stuff like Starlight Road running around. People were maining Dark Hole as well, but you had to deal with the Starlight Road situation, and then of course combating your opponent's own Fiendish Chains and other trap cards that they'd be playing around, because stuff like what are those cards? Mirror Force and Dimensional Prison were still being highly used. And actually at that point in time, were becoming multiples of, because they had now moved from the one statuses to 2 in terms of the Forbidden Limited list. From there, we move on into the traps, and since there's not too many other spells, I usually fit the traps on here. Hysteric Party, we love it, we adore it. Bring your swarm of harpies onto the field thanks to this card. Simply discarding 1 card from your hand pushes you for those game pushing wins. A massive amount of Exceed monsters you can go into. I love flipping this card on my opponent's end phase to discard a Hysteric Sign, such some of my harpies, and then pick up 3 more Harpie cards in the process. Icarus Attack to blow up some of that back row and counteract some of those plays that your opponent would have against you. The Magical Hat engine is here, that's right, because Hat helps out with Sign. It also helps out with Breakthrough Skill, being able to send those cards to the graveyard, and then triggering Sign's graveyard ability, and then Breakthrough Skill on your turn, you can remove it from play, or banish it, and then target an opponent's monster on the field and make sure that monster has no effect, so you can get over a lot of things they're playing. Really good combo with the Magical Hat. You can always pop this card with your Harpie's Hunting Ground and send it to the grave to trigger its secondary ability as well. So you got a good amount of usage. Bottomless Trap Hole, because, why not? BTH is definitely going to be a very useful scenario against a lot of decks that like to spam multiple big monsters onto the board and can do some real crash outs. And then just for more monster negation, we got Fiendish Chain, which is very laughable because you can turn on and off of Fiendish Chain if you need to, and then take out your opponent when need be. Great amount of things here. So that is it for myself in traps, and now we run into my extra deck. And I will just safely say this. My extra deck consists of some very top and very useful rank 4 and rank 7 monsters. There is a toolbox of them that are still being used even to this day. And it's still an amazing fleet to know that thanks to Harpie Channeler, a lot of this would have... If Harpie Channeler was not here, a lot of this would not be possible. Harpie's Head Phantasmal Dragon. Gather 3 Harpies under this monster, swing at your opponent directly. Your Harpies cannot be targeted for battle or card effects. while it has Exceed material, you're pretty much good and locked and loaded with this card. Chidori removes back row, removes face down monsters, really good for just getting rid of the ops without destroying them. We have Ice Speed Zero Fine for her massive negation, and then she becomes this big beat stick, because for every card that's on the field, she gains, face up on the field, she'll gain 300 attack, and she can easily take out some of those big threats. The Abyss Dweller to help you deal with Graveyard. Cowboy for the 800 burn for game. H.A.T Knight to chain and nuke the field. Can be very resourceful. Queen Dragoon to Jin to pick up that Harpie's Pet Dragon in the graveyard and then go for another setup for an Exceed summon. And with the rank 7 pull, it's definitely optimal. You can even take 2 channelers because she's a dragon and make them into a rank 7. See, the ideas are endless. That gets the emerald just to recycle some pieces and then draw a card off of it. There's also the factor of Harpie Lady Harpie Lady herself being part of the engine. That way you can special summon the Harpie Lady one and bring her onto the field because she is a non-effect monster. And also, some people were running Dusky Emerald with Gem Knight Pearl because that is also a monster you can easily pick up with this card. Then we have the Mecha Fan of Beast Draco Sack because tokens and pop. We have Big Eye to steal our opponent's monster. Master of Blades to redirect cards, to negate cards that are targeting and destroy them, which is very useful. One of the most expensive cards at that time was this useful monster here, the Silent Honor Arc, which was basically a rank 4 variation of, Wind Up Zen Mains, because it had protection for itself by detaching material, then being able to detach 2 of its material to take an opponent's special summon monster and make its material for itself. Meaning you can take out some of those big monsters and attach it to it just so that you can have whatever it is off the board. And a nice little spicy tech here is the Ragna Zero, because people were using Fire Formation Tinky as a way to help out with monsters, and you can easily destroy them and have Ragna Zero pop things and then draw cards off of that. So yeah, that is pretty much it, you guys, for my Harpie deck profile for H.A.T. For H.A.T format, I will have some more variations of it because I've been on this, road through memory lane and just remembering H.A.T format stuff, because why not? And I definitely do want to do the combo video and stuff too, so stay tuned for that. With that said and done, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you guys enjoy it. There are going to be questions, so you can leave them in the comment section below, and I will do my best to try to answer them. If not, stay tuned for the other video in which I talk about other ideas and cards and strategies to help you out with H.A.T format, because there's a lot to talk about with H.A.T format. So, with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, as it helps out tremendously. You can hit the notification bell to be informed of when I upload more content to my channel. My social media links are in the description box below. And I will catch you all next time. H.J. signing out. Take care.